keeping up with digital marketing trends, it feels like, I don't know, trying to drink from a fire hose sometimes,
It's fast-paced, for sure.
We're trying to give you that cheat sheet with these deep dives.
That's right.
And today we're diving into Tag Digital's Tag for Success newsletter. They've got some really interesting stuff in this one.
Yeah.
Right off the bat, Google, they're putting AI-powered summaries right at the top of search results.
Yeah, with ads right in them.
With ads. I mean,
They're calling them AI overview ads.
they blend right in, though.
They do. They look a lot like shopping ads.
So it's Google trying to compete with, like, OpenAI and Perplexity.
It's Google playing defense. That's what it feels like, right?
Yeah.
Like, can Google be nimble enough?
This is what their CTO, Alex Villanov, was wondering. He's like, is this even possible? Is Google going to be able to keep up? Are we seeing the changing of the guard with Google?
It's a good question, right? Because Google's so big. It's a strength, but it also might be a weakness in this climate.
Speaking of adapting, we've got to talk about TikTok because, people think dance crazes. It's a search engine now. Gen Z, that's what they're using.
Really, I still think of it as very much social media.
Right. 57%, though, are using it to search.
Oh, wow.
They're not just on there for the latest trends, but they're using it to find information.
Oh, wow.
Marketers need to kind of shift gears, and TikTok knows that. They've rolled out search ads.
Okay.
And Tag Digital highlights a case study where one brand was able to increase conversions by 20% just by adding these search ads in addition to, their feed ads.
Wow, that's huge.
It is huge.
Although that potential U.S. ban looming in January. I don't know, we'll have to see what happens with that. But speaking of interesting things happening on these different platforms, Meta has this new thing. It's called Event Details. They're adding that to ads. It's all about timing. Yeah, making them more timely. It's about making those ads hyper-relevant.
Yeah.
So, you're scrolling through your feed and there's an ad for the concert that you were just researching, right?
Okay.
Complete with ticket sale reminders and a way to add it to your calendar. So
That is kind of cool.
yeah.
Though even Tag Digital was like, we don't know if this is here to stay. We'll have to see if it sticks around. But we were just talking about Meta. They've been going towards AI with their Advantage Plus campaigns. Well, LinkedIn is doing the same thing with LinkedIn Accelerate.
Yeah, they're kind of like following in their footsteps a little bit. So LinkedIn Accelerate, it leverages AI to optimize those campaigns.
So like instead of the marketer going in and tweaking all these different settings,
Yeah.
the AI is doing that for you.
Yes, and they say that with Accelerate, you can build campaigns 15% more efficiently and lower your cost, which, if that's true,
That's a game changer.
that's a huge deal.
Sure.
So, AI is infiltrating everything. But I think, as much as we love to talk about the platforms and what they're doing, we also have to look at the bigger picture too, right? The event industry itself is changing.
Yeah, for sure.
So Tag Digital, they actually partnered with MDG for this Digitex Moments US Roadshow. And one of the things they talked about this session, the future of digital, the power of infinity loop marketing,
Right.
and they had 3 trends that they were talking about.
Okay, let's hear them.
The first one, consumer behavior is changing.
Yeah,
People want authenticity. They want to hear from experts,
of course.
especially on video. Video's huge.
Absolutely.
And that kind of ties into the second thing.
Okay.
Social media is search now. Gen Z, that's where they're going. They're not going to Google. They're going to social.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
So that's, why TikTok is like, upping their search game.
Yeah.
And then the third thing is we can't avoid this. This is AI, right? It's not the future. AI is here. And it's impacting everything. And Tag Digital's like putting their money where their mouth is. They're actually using AI to create their visuals for their events.
Oh, cool.
So they're not just talking the talk. And speaking of AI, I don't even know if we can talk about this without sounding crazy. They're building a digital twin of their CEO, Laura Davidson.
What?
Yeah.
Like a digital twin?
Like a digital twin, as in like a glimpse into the future of work.
Wow. So are they saying that they're going to replace her with a robot?
No, not replacing her, but just imagine like AI colleagues,
Okay.
right? So it's like having this bank of knowledge that's always there.
That's wild. So AI is developing at such a fast pace.
Yeah.
Where do they even see this going? What are they saying?
Well, they're saying this is the future, right? We have to embrace it and we have to learn how to work with it. It's kind of like, remember we were talking about those clunky phones?
Right.
We adapt so fast.
Yeah.
And now we're all glued to these things. AI is probably going to be the same way, right?
Yeah, it already is in a lot of ways. I mean,
In a lot of ways, yeah.
like even just the little things like, recommendations, spam filters, it's all AI.
All AI, but it's not just that, right? It's healthcare, it's
Uh,
finance,
It's everything.
it's everything, yeah.
But then that also brings up, like, what does that mean for people's jobs?
Right. I think a lot of people like worry about that. Like the robots are coming for our jobs, but it's
Yeah.
more about
Yeah, they are.
they are, but it's like how do we use them to like change the way we work, not necessarily like replace us. So it's like instead of me having to crunch all this data, the AI can do it. What does that free me up to do? To think more creatively, to
Right.
problem solve in a different way,
Right.
to build better relationships. So it's like, how do we work smarter?
What skills are we going to need then moving forward if everything's changing?
It's interesting because you would think like technical skills, but I actually think they call them uniquely human skills that are going to be more important. So like creativity, emotional intelligence, critical thinking, just being adaptable and like a lifelong learner, which I feel like we're all kind of in that boat now anyway.
Right. Always learning.
Always learning, yeah.
Okay, so like creativity. What does that look like, though, when AI can also create?
Right. So you can get AI to create something for you, but can it understand like the nuances of human emotion and experience?
No.
Can it make you feel something?
Right.
And that's what's important, right? If you're trying to like connect with an audience, there's a human element to that.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. What about emotional intelligence? That feels like a big one.
That's huge. I feel like now more than ever, right? Because we're interacting digitally so much, but being able to like understand someone else's perspective and their emotions. You think about leadership roles, you think about customer service, like healthcare, that human element
We
is,
still need that.
we still need that. Yeah, AI can't replace that
Right.
yet. But critical thinking, problem solving, I mean, those have always been important.
Right. But even more so now.
Even more so now, because like, yeah, the AI can crunch all the numbers, but we still need to know how to interpret them.
Yeah.
Ask the right questions, make those judgment calls, especially when like you don't have all the information, you know?
You still have to be able to think for yourself.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. And be willing to like learn and adapt as we go. Because the minute you think you know it all, that's when, everything changes.
Right. Exactly.
So it's like, be a lifelong learner.
Yeah. It's not like, oh, I finished school, I'm done.
Right. It's constant.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So how do we prepare for this? It sounds kind of scary.
It is kind of scary.
Like, how do we even begin to wrap our heads around all this?
Well, I think it starts with like just that mindset, right? Like we have to be willing to like learn and adapt and be open to new things. And that kind of goes back to the education system too, right? Like how are we equipping, kids these days?
Oh, yeah. That's a whole other thing.
That's a whole other thing. But like how are we teaching them to think critically? How are we teaching them to like use their creativity? How are we teaching them to problem solve?
Right. And like you said, to be okay with not knowing everything.
Right. And not just like what to learn, but how to learn. And I think digital literacy is so important, right?
Oh, yeah.
We're in this digital world. We have to understand how to use these tools responsibly.
And safely.
And safely, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So those are just a few things. But I think, it's not just like what happens in school. It's like after school,
Yeah.
we need to be constantly upskilling, reskilling.
Right. And it's never too late for that.
It's never too late. And there's so many online resources. There's programs, there's mentors. Like find someone who's doing what you want to be doing.
Yeah.
And just learn from them.
Yeah. It's about fostering that love of learning, right? Like being curious.
Yes, exactly. And being curious.
Yeah. Okay. So as much as things are changing, there's a lot to be like excited about.
Oh, absolutely. It's just like, instead of being afraid of it, figure out like, how do I work with this?
How do I make this work?
Yeah. How to make this work for me?
It seems like Tag Digital, I mean, they're all in on this whole AI thing.
They are all in. I mean,
Yeah.
you think about this digital twin thing, that is next level.
It's pretty wild.
It's pretty wild. And I'm very curious to see where it goes, but they're not just, they're not dipping their toes in. They're diving right in.
It's like they're living in the future.
I know, right? And that's what we need to be doing. We need to be thinking that way.
It makes you wonder, like, what else are they going to come up with? If you're already doing this, it's like, what's next?
What's next? Yeah. It's exciting, though,
It is exciting.
to see it happening.
Yeah. And to see how, like, I don't know, we're going to use these tools ultimately to make our jobs easier or
To make them better.
to make it better. Yeah. and to allow us to do the things that we're really good at.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, like, what can people listening do to, like, wrap their heads around this, be prepared?
I mean, I think it goes back to, like, just be open to it, you know? Like, be open to learning new things, because it's constantly changing. Like, that's the thing. It's never going to stop
The
changing.
minute you think you know what you're doing, it's like,
It's different.
it's different, yeah.
Yeah.
So be adaptable, be...
Don't be afraid to, like, try new things and experiment.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what Tag Digital's doing right
Yeah, and they're not afraid to fail.
And that's okay.
You're going to fail.
Yeah.
That's how you learn.
That's how you learn.
This has been really... I've learned a lot in this.
Me too.
So I'm a little
A
overwhelmed,
lot to process.
but excited.
Yes.
Excited about the future.
There's a lot of opportunity.
There is.
Yeah.
So if you're listening to this and you're feeling the same way, I definitely recommend check out Tag Digital's Tagged for Success newsletter. This is just like a little snippet,
A little taste.
a little taste of what they're doing.
Yeah.
Stay curious about this stuff.
Yeah.
And, I don't know, go out there and make something cool.
Yeah. Why not?
Right. That's all the time we have for today's deep dive.
Thanks for joining us.
Yes, thank you for listening. And we'll catch you next time for another deep dive into the world of digital marketing.